Welcome to all. All of us have experienced the adolescent stage. More than that, there's a general statement that the adolescents want to experience more autonomy due to the rapid physical and cognitive changes. As a result of this, they may enter into some risky behaviors. So, in this session, we try to discuss about substance use and abuse among adolescents. For this discussion, we have with us Dr. Daisy Thomas. Let I introduce the expert. Dr. Daisy Thomas is presently working as the acting vice principal of RAK College of Education. With 32 years of teaching experience in nursing field, earlier she served as the registrar of Delhi Nursing Council. So hope that with her vast experience, she could share with us the different aspects of adolescence, especially the risky behaviors, and myself, Dr. Elizabeth Kurula. So initially, when we think about the substance use and abuse, it's better to explain about what is really meant by substance use and abuse.
Yeah, thank you for a good introduction. And regarding the substance use is not a problem. Whereas when it is used continuously and when it influences the whole life, then it becomes as a problem. Then it will lead to substance abuse. You can see that this substance abuse has become as a worldwide public health concern because our young generations, because they want to, out of their curiosity, or if they want to explore certain use certain things for just for fun, they become influenced with these type of drug substance through the entire life. It is also seen that, like, this possession of or consumption of these drugs like alcohol, tobacco, etc., are illegal, and it is a punishable offense because this is a punishable offense under the section 27 of NDPS Act, that is narcotic drug and psychotropic substance act. So we have to be very clear with it. It is a legal and punishable act. To know little more in detail about this substance abuse, let's see how do we define this substance abuse. To define a substance abuse, these are only the agents which cause alteration in the mind. When the usage of these type of agents is used to such an extent that when it interferes with individuals functioning, then it becomes as a substance abuse. Basically, generally, we have seen the youth get influenced with these type of substance abuse because when they are not able to escape from the feeling of insecurity, so we should support this our young generation and help the students to realize that they are not alone in facing these challenges. There are variety of healthy ways are there to confront this major health problems. So it is becoming as a major health problem in our country.
Yes, truly, Dr. Daisy has stated that what is substance abuse. And really, we know that because of the risky behavior of the adolescents, they may enter into such type of issues. And more than that, could you please explain about the criteria that we use to determine substance abuse?
Yes, mainly there are three criterias based on which we determine the person is having that substance abuse. It depends upon the pattern of use of the substance, how frequently the person is taking the substance. These substance are some of these substance are being used for the treatment of various things, but when it is being used continuously, this becomes a substance abuse. So pattern of use is one of the problem. Then when these substances are causing impairment in the social and individual functioning, for example, if the person is not able to carry out her routine activities or are not able to attend the classes properly, the adolescents are not able to attend the classes, not able to carry out their activities of daily living properly, then this becomes an impairment in the social and occupational functioning. The third criteria is duration of use. Since when the person is using this type of, so based on these three criteria, the substance abuse is being determined. And there are certain studies are there. It shows that yes, the substance abuse is more common among the age group of 15 to 25 years of age. And it is not specific to any particular religion, community, occupation, or socioeconomic class. It can affect any person, irrespective of what caste, creed, color, and economic status the person belongs to. And it is also seen that this incidence becomes high when the person is unemployed or having certain stress, then these type of incidents increases.
So, truly, Dr. Daisy has stated about the criteria, the three criteria that made to analyze the substance abuse. How much or how frequently the adolescents are using these substances. And generally, we know that the adolescents may enter into such type of issues out of fun. That is true. But later on, they cannot control this intake of substances which affect their health in a vast way. And next one, generally, what are the drugs that we commonly seen among the adolescents when they enter into such type of risky behaviors?
Yeah. The common drugs commonly used in India for this substance abuse are commonly available drugs like cannabis and its products, which are like ganja, bhang, charas, or some of these tranquilizers. Tranquilizers are those drugs which are routinely been given to the patients if we want to have hypnotics or for sedative action. For example, there are certain drugs like diazepam, lorazepam. So these are some of the drugs which are available. So these drugs also, when it is being used irregularly or it is not according to the uh, prescribed medication or overuse of these type of drugs, again the person can be using these common drugs as substance abuse. Then there are various other drugs like amphetamine, barbiturate. Barbiturates are the drugs which are commonly used for the patients who have convulsions and all. So these are being given for those. Even amphetamines are the drugs which causes stimulation of CNS. So when these type of drugs are abused or over intake of these drugs are done in order to have increased stimulation, then these person are engulfed with this type of substance abuse. Then there are other drugs like narcotic drugs, like opium, morphine, heroin, cocaine. Morphine and opium and are the drugs, are painkiller drugs which are being used for the patients. Then there are other tobaccos are there which are being commonly used like cigarettes, BDs, hookahs, or some other substance such as alcohol and inhalants like gasoline, fuel gases, cleaning fluids. So these are the drugs commonly available, and they, if it is extensively used or the abuse of these drugs are done, then again there can be various problems can happen among the adolescents.
Yes, Dr. Daisy has elaborately stated about the various drugs that are commonly used among adolescents, especially in India. And when we look the reason why the adolescents enter into such type of risky behaviors, they are not entering into such type of risky behaviors in a day or in a week like that. There may be various factors that make them to enter into such type of risky behaviors. When we look at the various factors, we can categorize these factors as social factors and psychological factors. Could you please explain about the various social factors that made the adolescents to enter into this substance abuse?
Yeah. Yes, there are certain contributory factors are there for the substance abuse. Regarding the social factors, it is the adolescents, out of their curiosity, they want to explore out what is the new thing there, or as an adventure they want to see what is available there. When the things they want to explore out, they want to know about the things, out of curiosity they start taking these type of drugs, and they become habited to these type of drugs. Or it can be to the rebel against the authority. That means, like if there is a rejection, if a person wants to reject the rule or resist the rule, a rule is there that this should not be carried out. The person wants to go against that rule and want to show, if there is in the family a strict rule is there that these substances should not be consumed, the adolescents wants to consume that, and they rebel against the authority of the parents. Even because of the influence of the peer group, it is one of the most common social factor. Even the family, the society also influence or contribute to the factor of substance abuse. Then there are easy availability or accessibility, because when the things are all available for the child or for the adolescents, when the things are available, they want to use it. If the things are not accessible to them, they will not be a person of substance abuse. Also, there are certain social practices like going out for the parties, going out for the the weddings and all. So some of these parties, some types of alcohols, the drugs, all these things have been used up. So the exposure of an adolescent to these substance also is a contributing social factor for substance abuse.
So, we have seen the various social factors that made the adolescents to enter into such type of issues. Besides the social factors, there are various psychological factors that made the adolescents to use or enter into substance abuse. Could you please explain about the various psychological factors?
Yeah, some of these psychological factors, like when the person wants to escape from some emotional problems. The emotional problems can be the person is having some financial problem, or the person is having some marital problems, or the person wants to escape out from the responsibilities. So, again, the person may start abusing certain substance, or the person is not able to cope up with the stress level, elevated stress level, or the person is not having the capability of coping with the stress. So that means inadequate coping mechanism is there among the adolescents. Or sometimes it happens that the person wants to relieve the boredom. That's why also the persons try to take up the some of these substances. Or because of loss of loved one, the rejection from the girlfriends, or some rejection in the life, maybe failure in the life. So these are some of the psychological problems because of which the person take up certain types of these substance abuses. So we have listed the social and psychological factors which are contributing to the substance abuse.
Okay, so we have seen the various social factors as well as the psychological factors. And we know that during this adolescent stage, a little bit of failure may make them disappointed or they may enter into depression. So, in order to escape from such type of mood, they may start using drugs in a way, but which may lead to enter into the addiction part of substance use. And how in schools or at home or as a teacher, how we can identify such adolescents? What are the signs and symptoms of substance abuse?
Yes, the persons who are taking these substance abuse, we can, by observing them, we can come to know whether they are taking these substances. So we can divide these signs and symptoms also into three categories, that is physical, social, and psychological. First, let's see the physical signs and symptoms. In physical signs and symptoms, you can see drowsiness. The person will be always drowsy, not feeling to do something. So, person will be always like either may have, because of this drowsiness or dizziness, the person may have frequent falls, and the eyes may be red eyes or blackouts. Sometimes irritability will be there among the adolescents, hyperactiveness, weight loss, tremors, like the hands and legs may be moving faster. The tremors will be seen in the periphery of the hands and legs. They can be negligence of personal hygiene. So, or the other physical symptoms are like dry mouth, bad odor, like bad halitosis is a medical term which is used for bad odor. Then there can be some physiological parameter difference will be there, that is rapid pulse, rapid heart rate, sleeplessness, or the person will appear always intoxicated. Even among the pregnant women, if we take it as the physical signs like premature delivery may be seen, or the fetus also may have a mental retardation, impaired growth, which is termed as fetal alcohol syndrome. So, these are the major signs and symptoms which can occur because of the substance abuse. Next is the psychological signs and symptoms. under the psychological signs and symptoms, the person can present with anxiety, nervousness, worry, or the person will have chronic depression, may be very depressed, doesn't want to talk to anyone, or hallucination. Hallucination means you are having a perception of having something is present there. So you are having the hallucination towards the auditory hallucination, tactile hallucination, or visual hallucination. Tactile hallucination is like you will feel that something is crawling on your body. Okay, so some of these type of tactile hallucination or auditory hallucination or visual hallucinations may be the some of the psychological symptoms, and patient may even present with euphoria, that is sometimes may have the extreme excitement may be there, or feeling of joy or well-being. So next, let's see what are the some of the social signs. Yes, we know that when the person is taking the substance abuse, they can have frequent automobile collisions. Yes, they are not able to be have seen in the physical sign. They can be drowsiness, frequent falls. So naturally they can be frequent automobile collisions can be there. They may indulge into some antisocial activities like prostitutions and all, even armed robbery. If the person are having that craving of obtaining the drug from somehow, they may even start robbery. There may be loss of social status, even loss of employment, or absence of uh, absence from school. So there will not be any regularity in the studies with regard to the adolescents. Either they may have, if the person is employed, they may have financial, if the frequent absenteeism is seen, then they can be financial difficulties will be there, the full payment the person may not get. Even they can be the rebel against the authority failure, and even this can even lead to suicidal attempts also. So these are the very, very dangerous signs and symptoms which can be seen, which we have clearly stated as physical, psychological, and social signs and symptoms.
Yes, truly, we can see that in some cases, in classroom situation also, there are students who are experiencing such types of signs and symptoms. So, as teachers, it's our duty to identify such children and why they are keeping aloof or why they are so much introvert. So, what are the reasons for that? So, we have seen the various signs and symptoms of adolescents using substance abuse. Could you please explain the medical condition associated with substance abuse?
Yes. As an adolescents, we should also know that because of the usage of these type of substance abuse, it can cause various medical conditions. It can land up into problems like pancreatitis, that is inflammation of the pancreas. One of the common cause is alcoholism is one of the common cause for pancreatitis. Then gastritis, that is inflammation of the gastric mucosa. Cirrhosis is a type of liver failure. This liver failure is also because of this alcohol abuse and all. Some of the drugs are also hepatotoxic. This also can cause liver failure. Person can have severe anemia, malnutrition. Even the person can have peptic ulcer, that is erosion in the gastric mucosas, which can cause even the intestinal bleedings can occur. Because of these type of substance abuse, there can be neuropathy, that is disorders of the peripheral nerves, and depletion of various types of vitamins, especially vitamin B and all. So these are some of the medical conditions which are affecting due to the substance abuse. it is better to prevent the problem instead of going into severe medical problems.
So, truly, we have seen how the substance abuse are affecting the adolescents or any person in holistically, they will be affected by the use of illegal drugs. And another one, it is always stated that prevention is better than cure. So, in this case, what are the preventive measures to be taken in the case of substance abuse?
Yes, truly it has been said prevention is better than cure. So it is most important thing is that we have to create awareness among our adolescents that what are the various problems the person can have. We have listed out various physical problems, psychological problems, and the social problems which can occur because of the substance abuse. And these awareness are to be created among the adolescents, the danger of substance abuse. It is also important to have compliance and adherence to the medications prescribed by the practitioners. We had already seen that there are some of these drugs which are under substance abuse are the normally used drug which is for the treatment of the patient, but it it is important that we have to adhere according to the prescribed medication of the physician. And also it is important that as in case if we are having certain stress or any problem is there, we had already seen in the contributing factors what are the social contributing factors, psychological contributing factors. If any of these contributing factors are present and if the person is not able to cope up with himself, then it is better to seek the assistance in mental care. So early interventions of mental health is also very important. It is truly, it is said that substance abuse are taken up because of the influence of the peer group. So as an adolescents we should know which is the company we should have, which are the bad companies, so avoid the bad companies. Adults also, we have to adults also keep in mind that do not send the children to buy cigarette, alcohol or drugs, because they even get exposure to these type of drug. Once they are getting for the parents, they also want to try and see what is that my parent is taking up. So it is that you should not ask the child to buy these things. Also it is important whenever it is difficult to handle some of the children, then it is also important to seek the help of the well trained counselors. And also we had seen that this as a preventive measure, proper enforcement of the narcotic legal laws, because there are certain substances we have seen some of the substance like painkillers like morphine and all are various drugs are should not be easily available, and yes, it should be under the proper narcotic act. And
Yes, so we have seen many preventive measures, and now we are taking a break. We will come again in the next session. We will discuss what are the other measures, preventive measures that we can take in the case of this adolescents' substance abuse. Let us have a break. We will come again.
इसको भैरवी करे भैरवी Are you a fresh graduate? Do you want to fulfill your educational aspiration by pursuing higher education in various interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary areas like environmental science, environment and occupational health, philosophy, sustainability science, folklore and culture studies? If yes, the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies offers various programs like Master's Program, Graduate Program, Postgraduate Diploma, Certificate and Appreciation Program. The school offers 5 Master's Program. Master of Science, Environmental Science. The eligibility criteria for MSc Environmental Science is Graduate in Science, BTech, BE, Agriculture Graduate, Forestry Graduate and Veterinary Graduate. School also offers Masters in Environment and Occupational Health, Masters in Sustainability Science, Masters in Philosophy and Masters in Folklore and Culture Studies. The eligibility criteria for these 4 Masters program is graduate in any discipline. School also offers various socially relevant and need-based PG Diploma program like PG Diploma in Sustainability Science, PG Diploma in Environment and Occupational Health, PG Diploma in Folklore and Culture Studies and PG Diploma in Migration and Diaspora Studies. The school also offers PG Certificate in Climate Change and Avshist Prabandhan mein Praman Patra. The school also offers 2 doctoral programs, PhD in Environmental Science and PhD in Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies. The school offers various innovative technologies and multimedia for providing a very excellent student support system. The study material is of high quality. The learner support is provided through Gyan Darshan, Gyan Vani, IRC, Swayam Prabha and Swayam channel of IGNOU. For more detail, please log in to IGNOU website. For online admission in these programs, visit school site and also the Samarth online education portal of IGNOU. So please join these programs and fulfill your educational aspiration.
Welcome back to the next session of the theme Substance Use and Abuse. This topic is part of the course BS 1-1 Childhood and Growing Up of B.Ed program. So in the earlier session, we have discussed what is meant by substance use and abuse, what are the criteria that we use to determine substance abuse, what are the drugs that are commonly used in India, and we have also explained the various factors that lead to substance abuse. Then we have seen the signs and symbols of substance abuse, then the medical condition associated with substance abuse, and next we have discussed about the general preventive measures. So, in this discussion, we have with us Dr. Daisy Thomas, and already we have discussed about the general preventive measures. But when we look at the legal aspects, or on the basis of legal aspects, could you please explain what preventive measures can be taken in the case of substance abuse?
Yes, as we were talking before the break, that proper enforcement of narcotic legal laws are important. There is always a law is already is there. We had seen in the earlier slide also that section under the section 27 of NDPS Act, there is narcotic legal law is there, but the proper enforcement of this is not being carried out. Enforcement means it should not be available for the adolescents below the age of 18 years, and it should not, and there should be proper license for the sale of certain drugs. And some of these medications like morphine and some opiums and all are to be under lock and key, and it should be properly intended through a proper channel where it is not easily available among the adolescents. And it is important that as a community, these bylaws are to be instilled at district assemblies, and also these things are to be carried out also. How this law enforcement will be done, because if the at district level onwards the strictness is been maintained, the availability of things in the parties or clubs or in the various functions, this are to be monitored, and it should be the legal laws are to be strictly enforced. And also a strict punishment should be given who is not abiding with these laws. Even there should be strict punishment for drug peddlers. Even it is also important by the parents that as a preventive measures, you as a parents, we should know what our children are or our adolescents are into, what are their affairs, what are their various activities going on. All these things parents should be aware about. So it is important that they should be inquisitive in the affairs of their children.
When we look at the term substance use and abuse, there may be some kind of myths related with this.
Yes.
Along with myths, there may be facts. Could you please explain some of the myths and facts related to substance abuse?
Yeah, there are various myths are there. Like it has been said that addicts can't stop whenever can stop whenever they want. Like when the fact is that it is not true. In order to quit the substance, it requires a treatment, because addiction itself is a disease. It's a chronic disease, because so proper treatment is required in order to stop the addiction. So because it creates a dramatic change in the person's brain. That's why it is said that addicts requires help to stop the addiction. Next myth, we can see it as addiction is a moral failing. No, it is not true. It is not only because of the moral responsibility or moral problems. It is taken it as addiction is taken it as a disease, because most of the people are at risk of this disease because of their genetic and environmental problems or environmental surroundings. We have seen that various contributing factors we had seen earlier. So it is not only because of the moral reasons because of which the person fall into addictions, it can be various other reasons also. It is also said that one of the myth is that all people that use drugs are addicted. Yes, it is not true. The drugs which are used for the some treatment, that person is not addicted to drug. So it is not that all people, those who are using drug, are addicted. It is the for addictions, there should be an intense craving should be there, and this craving is such that the person is not able to stop using the drug in spite of having the negative consequences because of the drugs. So it is said that it is all people that uses the drugs are not addicts. Addicts are next myth. It has been seen that addicts are easy to identify. False, because there are many addicts are there in the society. They want to keep their addictive nature in secrecy. They may be addicted so much that they have the things, they take up the drugs in so frequently and addicted to it, but the people does not come to know about it. So it is not that the people this addiction can be seen in any age group, any gender, or any economic class, creed, color, any group it can be seen. So it is very difficult to identify that yes, this person is an addict. Next myth is that you cannot be addicted to a prescribed medications. The fact is that false. There are n number of drugs are there which are dangerous, which can, if taken continuously, the person can become addict to the drug. We have seen some of the painkillers are there, some of the tranquilizers are there, which are taken up, and this can cause, these are taken up when it is required. So all drugs prescribed with the prescribed drug, the person cannot get addicted. But continuous usage of these medications like narcotic drugs or opioids, when it is available and continuously being used, then the person can become addict. Next myth is that if you can go to work, you are not really addicted. It is not so. In the earlier myth also we have seen that it is, can we easily identify the person who are addicted? No, we cannot easily identify. The person can go to their work, they carry out all the activities. Yes, it is true that their health, the person's health may be affected. Sometimes the things may not be carried out in a proper way. So those problems can be there, but the person continue to work even if the person is addicted. Next, another myth is that only hard drugs are dangerous. For example, alcohol and hard substance are only the drugs which is causes danger of substance abuse. No, it is false. That we have seen there are wide variety of substance are there on which a person can get adhered to, or person can have can become the abuse on those type of drugs also. Any drugs which is taken in excess amount, the person can have the abuse of the drugs. Next myth is that there is nothing friends and families can do to help. It is very false, because it is the family and the loved one are the best people who can help the person who is under the substance abuse. Their support, their interventions is required for the person to come out of the substance abuse. The next myth is that rehab does not really work. That means the fact is that false. Rehabilitation is required because it provides an environment for the person in recovering. Because always for a substance abuse, treatment is very important. Treatment is pivotal for helping the addicted individual, because then only they will be able to manage or cope up with their problems. The another myth is that relapse equals failure. Because of the relapse, the failure has occurred. It is not true. Relapse is a normal part of recovery, and recovering from the problems also should not be taken as a failure. Sometimes relapse can occur. Then again, we have to, with the support, we have to help out the persons to come out of this problem. So these are some of the myths are there. We have clearly defined the facts. So you should understand these problems. Yes, with the support of the family and the loved ones, we can come out of this major problem.
Yes, truly, Dr. Daisy has elaborated about the various myths and facts related to substance abuse. And one of the myths that families and friends has nothing to do to help. But here comes the importance of family in identifying the adolescents who are under drug addiction. And we know that the children, especially the adolescents, they are surrounded with various layers, as Brenner has stated. And we know that the immediate layer is the microsystem, where the family occupies an important place. In such condition, could you please explain about the role of parents in the case of handling such issues, substance abuse?
Parents play a very important role. Their role is in the prevention of substance abuse, and also if the person is doing the substance abuse or using the drugs, then what is the interventions? Let us see one by one. As a preventive role, it is important for the parents to get involved with these adolescents, spend time with them. It is important that they should create a welcome environment in their home, so that they are able to get to know their child, their activities, their interest, so that they are able to channelize those activities into a good source, so that they do not get involved with certain into this type of substance abuse or usage of drugs. It is also important that we as parents, we have to learn to communicate with them. Also, communication means not only the verbal communications, the non-verbal cues also parents should be alarmed with. The depression among them, anxiety, or the physical problems a person is showing. So these things we have to also watch for the non-verbal cues among them. Then we have to listen to the child, spend some time with them so that they are able to open up with us, and look out whenever we are talking with the child, give them some time and talk to them. Do not preoccupy yourself, and whenever you are talking with the child, you see that you look at the child and talk to them. So these are some of the small tips will improve in prevention of these type of substance abuse. Then there is it is also important that parents should appreciate and encourage the child. It is more important is that they should be appreciated for their effort, not for the achievement they have won. So it is the focus on to their positive behavior and make them feel wanted, so that they are able to open up with you and have a positive attitude. As I have said, it is better to have encourage the children into a healthy pursuit like music, sports, and all these activities. It is also important for the parents to set an acceptable rule. Whenever you are setting up the rules, it should be in consultation with the adolescents. You have to see that you have, and whatever is the rules which you have laid down, it is clearly you state your expectations and whatever rules have been laid, and that is to be followed by both parents and the adolescents. So these are some of the preventive roles we as a parent we can do it. Then what are the parental interventions? It becomes very difficult for a parent to know the child is taking the drugs or having various substance abuse is there. So during that time, it is important for the parents to get support for themselves. And also, whenever you are talking to the child or confronting with them, you have to see that you stay calm and do not argue with the adolescents, so that you are able to communicate clearly with them. Sometimes it becomes very difficult with some of the children. Then professional help also may be taken up, because our ultimate aim is that our child or our adolescent should be saved.
Yes, truly, family, especially parents, they have a major role in controlling substance abuse or such type of issues among the adolescents. More than that, we know that adolescents are spending a vast majority of time in schools. In such case, what is the role of school and teachers in preventing substance abuse among adolescents?
Yeah. School also plays a major role in controlling the substance abuse, because students are also there in front of the teachers. They also see some of the emotional and physical signs among these adolescents. But it is also important for the teachers not to jump into the conclusion that yes, these signs I have seen, so person and child is abusing. Take enough measures to identify the problems. Some of these problems are like emotional signs which you can identify are mood swings, which ranges from various elation to sudden withdrawal. Then we have to see for some depression, anger for no reason, not having interest in any school activities or extracurricular activities, not getting well with others, the performance in the academic performance are poor, short attention span. Some of the physical signs also teachers can observe, that is red eyes, falling asleep in the class, slurred speech, inattention in the class, forgetfulness, the personal hygiene is not being maintained properly, or uncoordinated movements. So these are some of the emotional and physical signs as a teacher she can observe for. And what is the role of the teacher? Teacher, it is important that she should see that students are able to make a decision. Give them the confidence to say no to drugs. And it is also important that teachers should make the children aware about the negative effects of these type of drugs. Also, you should distinguish between the harmful effects of these drugs abuse. Like, because of these type of drug abuse, there can be various disease conditions like HIVs, AIDS and all can happen because of the drug usage, injectable drug usage and all. So it is the teachers who have to make the child confident enough to say no to drugs. And she should be able to build up the confidence in the child, that her self-esteem, the adolescent self-esteem should be built up, and instill confidence in them so that they are able to identify and distinguish between what is right and wrong.
Yes. Okay, so we have seen the various preventive measures. Could you briefly explain about the activities for creating awareness among adolescents?
Yeah, we can, as school teachers, we can carry out various activities for the children in order to bring awareness among them. We can organize various art contests for children regarding the prevention of drug abuse. We can even design certain t-shirts or have slogans to prevent the drug abuse. And we can also have some dramas, role plays, which can be taught to these children regarding the ill effects of the drug abuse, so that with play method they are able to gain the awareness about the ill effects, and we can prevent them from usage of these type of drugs.
So we have elaborately discussed about what is substance abuse, what are the signs and symptoms, what are the preventive measures, what are the roles of teachers, parents and school in controlling substance abuse. Thank you for listening and watching this session. Thank you to Dr. Daisy for giving an elaborate explanation on various points. Thank you once again.
A warm welcome to IGNOU. If you are creative, if you can write well, and if you can visualize, mass communication is the correct career option for you. I am going to talk about postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication, which is also the first year of MA program in journalism and mass communication. So any learner who has done a postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication is eligible to take admission straight away into the second year of our master's program in journalism and mass communication. Duration to complete this program is minimum 1 year, and because we have this inherent flexibility in distance education system, you can take up to 3 years to complete this program. The minimum eligibility criteria for taking admission in this program is bachelor's in any discipline. To give you a glimpse of what are the various components of this program, we begin with telling you what mass communication is, what are the various areas, various branches of mass communication. Then we go on to tell you about the various reporting techniques and beats of reporting, followed by media ethics, the principles, the codes of conduct that you must follow, and we also focus on the writing skills and editing skills for print media. Now this program comprises of 8 courses of 4 credits each. 25% of the entire program is practical based. So we have 6 theory courses and 2 practical courses. This program is so designed so that it will be able to make you more employable in the market. So it helps you build a career in print media, in radio, television, new media, as well as the allied subjects of mass communication, which could be media marketing, advertising, public relations and corporate communications, event management. This can also help you become an entrepreneur in areas like photography or having your own production house and so on. So I hope that you will be excited to join this program, and we will be waiting to welcome you here in IGNOU.
Do you wish to be part of a television studio like this, or any other media system, or already part of any media system, want to enhance a new set of skills? Welcome to School of Journalism New Media Studies. Here in the School of Journalism New Media Studies, we are offering program for all set of people to learn and enhance the media skills. The vision of School of Journalism and New Media Studies is to generate a new set of professionals in the area of media and communication studies with understanding about role of media in the national development and global understanding. We offer innovative programs in the field of journalism and mass communication that sets the benchmark of high quality learning and teaching process at the national level. We offer these programs across the country with the help of our regional network as well as study center. Same manner, many of our programs are offered through online mode with a sophisticated learning management system. SOGNMS offers programs from PhD in journalism and mass communication till certificate level. We have masters in journalism and mass communication.
Hello viewers, welcome to the teleconference session on Human Growth and Development with the code BANC 109. It is a course which is offered in BSc Anthropology in the 4th semester. As you all must have gone through your program guide, you must have realized that this is a core course which we offer in the 4th semester. Now, this is offered both in Hindi and in English, and it is a 6-credit course. 4 is theory and 6th is the practical. Now, in this, we have different units thematically arranged for you to understand the different aspects of growth. Now, just let me explain and talk about what exactly is human growth and development. In biological anthropology, human growth and development is a very dynamic discipline actually, because a lot of work has been done around the world on different ethnic groups, and we have immense data to interpret many of our issues related to our workplace, about health, and many such things. Now, this course, growth and development, is generally confused as something which is same. It is mostly, people interchangeably use it as a single phenomena. However, growth and development are two different things. अगर हम बहुत ध्यान से देखें कि growth का मतलब क्या है, growth is basically talking about increase in size. Whereas development क्या होता है? It is more complex. It talks about the functionality in the human body, because here we are talking about human growth and development. Now, we all know that growth is dependent on your genes, right? But then your extraneous factors, which can be nutrition, which can be environmental conditions, they also affect your growth. However, it's not just the growth that learning how tall you have grown or how much fat is in your body is important. It has a lot of applications also. Be it, sitting on this chair, my hand resting on this table, everything has to be comfortable, whether you are driving a car or you're wearing clothes also. In this, design anthropometry is used. Later in the units, you realize the significance of anthropometry, which simply, if you decipher the word, it will mean the measurement of the human body. So, how measurement is useful? We get so many ready-made clothes. हमको बाजार में इतने मिलते हैं, कुछ फिट करते हैं, कुछ नहीं करते. क्यों? क्योंकि हर प्रकार के लोगों के लिए कपड़े बने होते हैं. And anthropometry provides you this uniform size for everybody. हर ethnic group का, even gender differences are there. men have broader shoulder, women have slender ones. इन सब को मद्देनज़र रखते हुए एंथ्रोपोमेट्री plays a very significant role in designing of the clothes also, apart from our kitchen things which we use, placement of things on your work shelf and all. कंफर्ट होता है तो काम करने में भी अच्छा रहता है. तो जैसा कि मैंने अभी आपको बताया, ये 6 क्रेडिट का कोर्स है. थ्योरी के 4 क्रेडिट हैं और प्रैक्टिकल के 2 क्रेडिट हैं. अब क्रेडिट आप लोग को समझ में आ गया है क्या होता है. एक क्रेडिट 30 hours of your study है, which includes your writing assignment, your reading it, your counseling sessions, ज्ञान दर्शन, ज्ञान वाणी, and other sources of the SLM which we provided to you. अब हमको इस कोर्स में हमको क्या फ़ायदा है करने का, हमको क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलेगी. जैसे अभी मैंने बताया, अगर आपने ध्यान दिया हो तो बच्चे जब छोटे होते हैं तो हॉस्पिटल में उनकी हाइट मेजर की जाती है, उनका चेस्ट सरकमफ्रेंस मेजर करते हैं, उनका हेड सरकमफ्रेंस मेजर करते हैं. इससे क्या होता है, इससे पता लगता है कि बच्चा नॉर्मल पाथ ऑफ ग्रोथ फॉलो कर रहा है कि नहीं. अगर नहीं है, कि हर बच्चे की एक नहीं होती, तो उसमें एक बैंड होता है. जिनके छोटे बच्चे हैं या जिन्होंने ध्यान दिया होगा, तो देयर इज़ ऑलवेज अ बैंड, अ रेंज. उसमें बच्चा फिट इन करता है या उसके पार है, either side. So you know the growth of the child. इसी तरह से हम न्यूट्रिशनल स्टेटस जो होता है उसको पता करते हैं. न्यूट्रिशनल स्टेटस से क्या पता करते हैं, सिर्फ यही नहीं हमारे लिए इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि आप आर यू ओबीस और नॉट. It is also important to understand what all problems are related with obesity. It is not just being fat. It is you can have a heart ailment, you can have arthritis, you can have diabetes. All this can be related, can be understood once you know your assessment. Nutritional assessment से ये भी होता है. अब सिर्फ ओबेसिटी ही नहीं हमको पता करनी, हमको बैलेंस डाइट लेना ज़रूरी है नॉर्मल शरीर के ग्रोथ के लिए. तो व्हाट इज़ द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ योर diet, balanced diet will be also dealt in the chapter. Of course, we will also talk about हर स्टेज में growth कैसी होती है, क्या होता है जब हम करते हैं, तो how the different parts of our body changes, grows and develops. ये दोनों चीज़ें साथ साथ होती हैं और इनको अलग समझना बहुत मुश्किल है, बट ये हम बहुत ध्यान से रखें कि ये दोनों अलग अलग फिनोमिना हैं. इसमें हम ये भी सीखेंगे कि आपने चारों तरफ नोटिस किया होगा कि बहुत डिफरेंट वेराइटीज़, मतलब देयर इज़ लॉट ऑफ वेरिएशन इन द पीपल यू लुक एट. कोई थोड़ा चौड़ा है, कोई बहुत बोनी है, कोई एकदम नॉर्मल हमको दिखता है. तो दिस बॉडी टाइप एंड बॉडी फिजिक एंड सोमैटोटाइपिंग विल ऑल्सो बी डेल्ट इन इट. तो ग्रोथ एक बहुत वास्ट डिसिप्लिन है जिसको हम इसमें आपको वी विल इंट्रोड्यूस यू टू डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ ग्रोथ. इवन वर्ल्ड वाइड वेरिएशन होते हैं, हर कोई एक जैसा नहीं होता. वी कैन सी कि देयर इज़ लॉट ऑफ वेरिएशन इन ह्यूमन फिजिक, इवन इन सोमैटोस्कोपी. सोमैटोस्कोपी क्या होते हैं, वो फीचर्स जो हमको अपनी आईज से दिख जाते हैं, जिनको हमें मेजर नहीं करना है. बी इट द कलर ऑफ द हेयर, बी इट द शेप ऑफ द आई कलर, द नोज़, लिप्स. ये सब चीज़ें हम देख के बता सकते हैं. फोरहेड चौड़ा है कि नहीं, आपका फेस का क्या शेप है, इतने वेरिएशन है. ये सब हम डिफरेंट एथनिक ग्रुप्स में फ़र्क होते हैं, एंड दिस हेल्प्स यू इन आइडेंटिफिकेशन. ऑल्सो वन ऑफ अनदर application of human growth is also it helps in forensic science. In identification of the culprit, it will help you. Like I mentioned, there are 4 different blocks in it, and a practical manual is there. Practical manual, we will not give hands-on practice, but the practical manual will make you understand what you have learned in your theory, how you can implement it in your day-to-day, in understanding what theoretical things you have learned. Now, coming to block 1, Dr. Smarika would explain.
Hello viewers. Now our entire course has been divided into 4 blocks,
And if we talk of block 1, it is about fundamentals in human growth, which is divided into 3 units. The first unit says basic concepts and concept of evolutionary human growth. Now, as already explained by Professor Rashmi, that growth and development are considered to be one and the same, but they are not. Here we will talk about the differentiations, like for example, growth is an increase in the body size, and development is increase in the complexity and the functional ability of a body. Then we also talk about differentiation, maturation. Then we talk about different types of growth like mammalian growth, pyramid growth, philosophy of human growth. So growth in various aspects would be dealt with in Unit 1. Now, when we come to Unit 2, it talks about the various stages of growth and growth patterns. So stages of growth, if we start, it is since a human being or a life is in an ovum form, then we move on to the embryo, then we have the infancy state, then we have the adulthood, childhood, puberty, adolescence, maturity, and finally senescence or the aging. Then here we again talk about the prenatal growth and the postnatal growth. Prenatal growth is the stages when human life is in the form of a zygote, then embryo, and a fetus. And the postnatal growth is definitely from the time a child is born till the maturity, that is childhood, adolescence, and senescence. And we also study about various types of growth curves over here. Then if we move to Unit 3 of Block 1, it talks about all the methods of studying growth. So we have the cross-sectional method, the longitudinal method, and the mixed longitudinal method, basically. And we also study about the merits and demerits of each one of them. So you would be able to learn about all the methods of studying growth in quite detail. So basically understanding the concepts of different methods of studying growth and differentiate various methods of studying human growth. Then we come to Block 2. Block 2 is human growth and ecological factors. This again is divided into 3 units. So Unit 4, which is the first unit of second block, it is about the biocultural factors influencing patterns of growth and variation. So here we talk about the genetic factors which influence growth. Definitely, genetics has a big say on the way a child grows up to be, the height a child may attain, and then the ecological factors. For example, climate, altitude, the height at which we are staying, all these also have a great impact. Then here we talk about the socio-cultural factors. Socio-cultural factors as in nutrition, the kind of diet, the kind of nutrition a human being is getting, that impacts growth to a large extent. The socio-economic status, yes, definitely. A child in a poor or lesser economic status may not have access to a proper diet and may not have proper growth, may be stunted. Then family size, generational changes, and migration, these also play a very important role in the growth of an individual. And then we have our Unit 5, which talks about the adaptation to environmental stress. This is very important because here we talk about homeostasis and thermoregulation. Homeostasis is actually maintaining the internal environment of the body with relevance or in comparison to the external environment. And thermoregulation is the maintenance of the temperature system of the body. For example, if it's extremely cold outside, then our body starts shivering or you get goosebumps to act as a protective covering, a blanket to provide you warmth. And on the contrary, if it is hot, then you start sweating. So, and through evaporation, when you lose sweat, then obviously evaporation causes cooling of the body. So these are methods of thermoregulation. And here we also talk about the physiological adaptations, the genetic adaptations, the cultural adaptations, and various other types of adaptations that a human being has to undergo in order to adjust to the environment. Then look at the 6th unit of this block, which is about the ecological rules. An organism and its environment, they make up the ecology. So here in this unit, the unit has been framed in such a way that here we will try to understand what is ecology,
what is an ecosystem, and the ecological adaptive processes. Here, it's also described how modified ecosystems are becoming of man. And here we will also know about the important features and characteristics of different ecological rules. Like, for example, you will study about Allen's rules, Cope's rule, and so on. So then we move on to the block 3 and block 4 of this unit, and Dr. Pankaj would brief you more on this.
वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून लर्नर्स. जैसा कि अभी आपको पहले बताया गया कि हमने इस पूरे कोर्स को 4 ब्लॉक में डिवाइड किया है, जिसमें हम ब्लॉक 3 और 4 में न्यूट्रिशनल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी और उसके साथ मानव शरीर की काया और सोमेटोस्कोपी जैसे विषयों पर बात करेंगे. मूलतः जो यूनिट 7 है, जो हमारी इकाई 7 है, जो पोषण स्थिति का मूल्यांकन करने के लिए उसके बारे में बताती है. यानी कि जब किसी मानव का विकास और वृद्धि दोनों प्रक्रियाएं चल रही होती हैं, तो उसमें पोषण कितनी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाता है, ये जानना स्टूडेंट को बहुत आवश्यक हो जाता है. इसीलिए हमने इस यूनिट को डिवाइड किया है जो न्यूट्रिशन स्टेटस है उसके असेसमेंट के थ्रू, और कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ जो बैलेंस डाइट है हमारी वो कैसी होनी चाहिए एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, उसके बारे में हमने यूनिट 7 और 8 में अपनी बात रखी है. जो कि पोषण स्थिति का मूल्यांकन करने के लिए जो कि हमें ज़रूरत पड़ती है मूलतः कि बच्चे का ग्रोथ या मानव का ग्रोथ, किसी की हाइट, जैसा कि अभी प्रोफेसर रश्मि बता रही थी कि ग्रोथ कभी रुक जाती है, कभी वो सेटलमेंट नहीं होती उसकी, तो उसके पीछे जो स्टंटिंग और वर्स्टिंग के जो कारण है वो होती है पोषण में कमी, और जो कि हम कद और भार के आधार पर नापते हैं, जिसमें हम मूलतः BMI का उपयोग करते हैं. और इसके असेसमेंट के लिए हमने मूलतः जो एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में एंथ्रोपोमेट्री और बायोकेमिकल एंड लेबोरेटरी मेथड, क्लिनिकल मेथड और डाइटरी मेथड, यानी कि ABCD 4 तरीके के वर्जन के रूप में हम इसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं, जो न्यूट्रिशन स्टेटस के असेसमेंट के लिए इस्तेमाल किया जाता है कि कितने पोषण तत्वों से हमारा शरीर भरपूर है, और उसके लिए हमारा जो डाइटरी इंटेक मेथड है वो कैसे काम करता है, उसमें कितनी मात्रा में हमें डाइट्स अपनी इंक्लूड करनी चाहिए. पूरा एक यूनिट जो है इकाई 7 पोषण स्थिति का मूल्यांकन इन्हीं सब बातों पर जो है केंद्रित किया गया है, जिसमें पोषण के लिए अलग अलग तत्वों की आवश्यकता और उनके अनुप्रयोगों के बारे में जानकारी दी गई है. वहीं दूसरा यूनिट 8 जो है हमारा कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बैलेंस डाइट, यानी कि मानव के विभिन्न प्रकार के जैसे रूपात्मक विशेषताएं जो हैं, जो उनकी मॉर्फोलॉजिकल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं, उसके अनुसार उनके खाने और उनके पोषण की जो स्थितियां हैं, उसके लिए वो संतुलित आहार कौन सा होगा और कितने संतुलित आहार की आवश्यकता किसी किशोर को या किसी महिला को पड़ती है, वो एक चीज़ है. वो जानना हमने इस यूनिट में कोशिश की है. जो हेल्दी लाइफ स्टाइल है हमारी बैलेंस डाइट किन किन चीज़ों पर कहती है. यानी बैलेंस डाइट को जब हम बात करते हैं तो हमारे आहार में कार्बोहाइड्रेट, फैट, विटामिन, मिनरल्स और वाटर इंटेक कितना है, इस पर बहुत हद तक डिपेंड करता है. तो इन सब जो मूल तत्व हैं, इन सब का एक कंबाइंड कंपोजिशन बनता है जो हमारी डाइटरी चार्ट के हिसाब से इसको इक्विलेट करता है. उसके लिए RDA एक रिकमेंडेड डाइटरी अलाउंस है जो ये बताता है कि कितनी मात्रा में किस तरीके के शरीर की व्यक्ति के लिए इसकी आवश्यकता होगी. तो 60 किलोग्राम वजन भार के व्यक्ति के लिए जो ICMR ने हमें अनुशंसित किया है, जो अनुशंसित आहार योजना है, उसके अनुसार 60 किलोग्राम जिस व्यक्ति का वजन हो, पुरुष का अगर किसी, तो अगर वो हल्के काम करने वाला है, ऑफिस बेयरर है, तो उसको 2425 कैलोरी के अधिक ऊर्जा की आवश्यकता नहीं होती है. तो हर एक अलग अलग शरीर काया और उसके अनुप्रयोगों के आधार पर अलग अलग कैलोरी कंज्यूमशन की आवश्यकता होती है. उसी तरह जो वीमेन स्तनपान कराती हैं या गर्भवती महिलाएं हैं, उनको 2900 से 3000 कैलोरी प्लस माइनस 500 यूज़ करने की ज़रूरत होती है. 400 कैलोरी एक्स्ट्रा आवश्यकता होती है अगर वो स्तनपान करा रही होती हैं, और 500 कैलोरी अतिरिक्त आवश्यकता होती है यदि वो गर्भावस्था के दौरान है. उसी तरीके से जो अधिक काम करने वाले पुरुष हैं, जिनका फिज़िकल एक्टिविटीज़ में वर्क ज़्यादा है या वो फिजिकली एक्टिविटीज़ में अपने आप को इंक्लूड रखते हैं, उनको 3800 कैलोरी प्रतिदिन ऊर्जा की आवश्यकता होती है. इससे अधिक की डाइट 60 किलोग्राम वजन वाले व्यक्ति के लिए अतिभार की स्थिति में आ जाती है, जो उसे ओबेसिटी की तरफ ले जाती है या फिर उसके ओवरवेट की तरफ ले जाती है, जिसके बारे में हमने अपनी अगली यूनिट 9 में इसके बारे में बात की है, जो इम्पैक्ट ऑफ मॉल न्यूट्रिशंस की बात है. तो उसमें हम कुपोषण, अल्प पोषण और अलग अलग प्रकार के जो हमारे अंदर न्यूट्रिशन से संबंधित समस्याएं हमारे शरीर में आती हैं, उनके बारे में जानकारी दी गई है, जो मेटाबॉलिक कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होते हैं, कार्डियोवास्कुलर कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैं, या मैकेनिकल, जिसको अभी प्रोफेसर सिन्हा बता रही थी कि कैसे आर्थराइटिस, स्टेरोस्टाइटिस या फिर सर्वाइकल जैसी चीज़ें हो जा रही हैं, या डायबिटिक लेवल 2, कोलेस्ट्रॉल की मात्रा, ये सारी चीज़ें ओवरवेट और ओबेसिटी के कारण होती हैं, जो कि पोषण की मात्रा के अधिक उपयोग और कैलोरी के अधिक कंज्यूमशन की वजह से होती हैं। और उसी तरह से अंडर न्यूट्रिशन एक प्रोसेस होता है जहाँ पे हम अल्प पोषण की स्थिति में होते हैं, जिसका कुपोषण जिसको हम कहते हैं सामान्य भाषा में, जो कि प्रोटीन एनर्जी जो माल न्यूट्रिशन है PEM, उसकी वजह से होता है, जिसमें मुख्यतः 2 बड़ी बीमारियां क्वाशरकोर और मेरस्मस जैसी बीमारियां होती हैं, जो बच्चों में होती हैं, जो स्टंटिंग के लिए जिम्मेदार होती हैं। बच्चों का विकास इससे पूरी तरह से रुक जाता है और उनके रूप और काया में बहुत परिवर्तन नहीं हो पाता है। इसको हम आगे बढ़ा करके फिर अपनी जो दूसरा ब्लॉक है हमारा, ब्लॉक 4, उसमें हमने ह्यूमन बॉडी और उसके कंपोजिशन और सोमेटोटाइपिंग असेसमेंट के बारे में जानकारी दी है, जो कि ह्यूमन बॉडी को अलग अलग तरीके से बताती है कि अलग अलग बॉडी की जिसमें फ़ैट ज़्यादा होता है या कम होता है, और जो स्किन फोल्ड और बॉडी हाइट के हिसाब से नापी जाती हैं, क्योंकि अलग अलग प्रकार के जो शरीर होते हैं, जैसे शेल्टन ने हम बता रहे हैं कि शेल्टन की एक शरीर काया को लेकर के उसका एक वर्गीकरण है, जो अभी मैं बता रही थी कि सोमेटोटाइपिंग जो होती है वो अलग अलग प्रकार के शरीरों की वर्गीकरण और उनके मूल्यांकन की एक परिस्थिति है, जिसको हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं मानव के शरीर को विभिन्न भागों में बांटने के लिए, जिसको पर्यावरण की जो है और लिंग, आयु, निर्जातीयता और आहार पैटर्न जैसे जो मूल तत्व हैं वो उसको प्रभावित भी करते हैं। और इसमें हम शेल्टन कॉटन का जो हमें एक्टोमॉर्फी और मीज़ोमॉर्फी और एंडोमॉर्फी टाइप 3 तरीके के शरीरों के बारे में बताते हैं। जैसे कि हम लोग सामान्य भाषा में बात करते हैं कि दुबले शरीर वाला, मध्यम एथलेटिक शरीर वाला और हैवी वेट और चौड़े शरीर वाला, जो जिस प्रकार की काया होती है उस प्रकार से उसका अध्ययन करने की जो अलग अलग विधियां हैं, उसको हमने इकाई 11 में विभिन्न जो विधियां हैं हमारी सोमेटोटाइपिंग की, उसके माध्यम से जानने की कोशिश की है, जिसमें वियोला, क्रेस्मेशर, सेल्डॉन, पैरनल, हीथन कार्टर जैसी विशेष विधियों के बारे में हमने विस्तार से इसको समझाया है और बताया है कि जिसमें मानव जो काया है वो कैसे अलग अलग प्रकार से वर्गीकृत की जाती है और कैसे उनकी गणना और उनका मूल्यांकन कैसे किया जाता है। और साथ ही हमने इकाई 12 में जो कोशिश की है वो ह्यूमन फिजिक के बारे में बताने की कोशिश की है कि ह्यूमन फिजिक कैसे जेंडर वाइज अलग अलग तरीके से काम करती है और कैसे एथनिक डिफरेंसेस होते हैं अलग अलग जगहों पे अलग अलग डाइटरी अलाउंसेस के साथ जब लोग इस्तेमाल करते हैं। यानी पहाड़ों में रहने वाले व्यक्तियों की कदकाठी उस वहाँ की उतंगता के लिए जो हाई एल्टीट्यूड एडॉप्टेशन है उसके अकॉर्डिंग, और मैदानी इलाकों में रहने वाले लोगों के एडॉप्टिंग स्टाइल में अंतर होता है, क्योंकि वो बॉडी फिजिक के स्टाइल में अंतर होता है। तो बॉडी फिजिक को हम मेन मुद्दे पे रखते हुए अलग अलग तरीके के ह्यूमन फिजिक को पढ़ने की कोशिश करते हैं कि कितनी प्रकार की मानव काया जो उपलब्ध है हमारे पास, उसको हीथर कार्टर के विधि द्वारा जो या शेल्डन के जो वर्गीकरण के आधार पे है, उसके आधार पे हम अलग अलग लोगों का वर्गीकरण करते हैं और उनकी पहचान करने की कोशिश करते हैं।
आपने अभी तो देखा कि हम थ्योरी में कितना पढ़ते हैं, क्या क्या पढ़ा, फिर लगता होगा व्हाट इज़ द यूज़ ऑफ इट। पढ़ तो लिया, थ्योरी हमने समझ भी ली, पर इसका है क्या फ़ायदा? कैन वी रियली यूज़ इट? येस वी कैन, एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट वील प्रोवाइड यू इन द प्रैक्टिकल मैनुअल, द यूजेस ऑफ वॉट एवर यू हैव लर्नड इन योर थ्योरी, द एप्लीकेशन पार्ट ऑफ इट। जो हमारा मैनुअल है, इट इज़ बेसिकली डिवाइडेड इन 5 sections. The very first section deals with your measurements, your growth status. Now, how can the growth status be assessed? It is assessed by somatometry. Now, what is somatometry? Soma is living cell and metry is measurement. So, when you take measurement on living being, it is called somatometry. तो हम इसमें हाइट लेंगे, वेट लेंगे, ब्रेथ्स लेंगे, लेंथ्स लेंगे डिफरेंट, और सरकमफ्रेंस लेंगे। इससे हमको ग्रोथ स्टेटस वगैरह पता लगेगा। जो सेक्शन 2 है हमारा, उसमें हम बेसिकली क्रोनोलॉजिकल एज वगैरह देखते हैं, BMI असेसमेंट देखते हैं। थर्ड सेक्शन बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है, इसमें हम ओबेसिटी असेसमेंट है, एंड फ्रॉम डिफरेंट हाउ डू वी डू इट। BMI से करेंगे, वेट फॉर हाइट से करेंगे, हम कॉनिसिटी इंडेक्स को लेंगे, हम And it is not just the obesity which is important, it is where the fat is accumulated. तो हम वो इसमें regional distribution of body fat will also be taken care of. Fourth section will be dealing with your estimation of body composition. इसको हम different तरीके से करेंगे, जिसमें से skin fold भी है, एक body electric impedance एक method होता है, जिसमें क्या होता है, एक बड़ा सा instrument है जिसे weighing scale होता है. आपकी हाइट उसमें आपको पहले से प्री डिटरमिनेड पता है, फिर आप खड़े होते हैं, देन यू विल पुट योर एज, योर एक्टिविटी लेवल, ये सब, योर जेंडर, ये सब डाल के जब आप खड़े होंगे तो आप देखेंगे कि उसमें रिजल्ट आता है. उसमें आता है आपकी बॉडी में कितना फैट है, कितना फैट फ्री मास है, कितना एक्चुअली वाटर है, कितनी रिक्वायरमेंट है. उससे हमको अपना what our body has, the composition of it, you come to know, and you can always learn from it and correct it wherever it is not so correct, or consult the doctor if the situation requires so. And section 5 is your nutritional assessment, which majorly, like it was just mentioned by Dr. Pankaj, that it is done 4 ways: anthropometry, biochemical, clinical, and dietary methods. Here we will talk in only anthropometry and your dietary methods. So this is what you will need. And there will be term and examination. You all know 30% will be assessment, your internal assignment, and term and examination will be 70%. I hope the things are clear for this human growth and development course. In case any query is there, you're always we are always there to answer them. Thank you very much.
We wear clothes on a daily basis. But have we ever wondered, where do our clothes come from? Who makes our clothing? And who are the people and the process responsible for the whole manufacturing of our clothing? If you want to know more about this, Indira Gandhi National Open University from the School of Continuing Education has launched a program which is Certificate in Apparel Merchandising. There are many benefits after doing this program. You can become a designer in various fields. It can be fashion designer, apparel designer, costume designer, or even a textile designer. One can also work as a fashion consultant. Research and development is another field which one can take up after doing this certificate course. Going into academics is another perk after doing this program. Getting into fashion houses or fashion studios as an intern is also a very good option post doing the certificate in apparel merchandising. The basic eligibility of the program is 10+2. The duration of the program is 6 months to 2 years. The program is also available for both the admission cycles, which is July and January. The exams are conducted twice a year, in June and December. So what are you waiting for? Join this program and get an enriching knowledge in the field of apparel merchandising. And to do so, you can log on to the official website of the university, www.ignou.ac.in.
Hello viewers. Today we are going to talk about asymmetric information. This topic is part of BECC 108 Intermediate Microeconomics 2. This topic can also be used by you for the studies of public economics, environmental economics as well. So this word asymmetric information, what does it mean? What we are going to cover today is the concept, the effects of asymmetric information, and also how can we possibly rectify that, how it affects markets. Now, to understand this concept, first let us know what do we mean by symmetric information. We have already known this concept of symmetric information, but we do not really use this term a lot. What we use is perfect information. You all are aware of the market perfect competition. Under perfect competition, we have many assumptions. The assumptions like no barriers to entry or exit of the firms, homogeneous product, which means same product is sold by the producers. There are large number of buyers and sellers in the market. And in addition to all these assumptions or characteristics of the market, we have one more, that is perfect information, or let us put it as equal and complete information to all. Now let us look at this first slide. In a perfect competitive market structure, we assume that no seller knows more about a product's characteristics than a buyer. Similarly, as I mentioned, no buyer also knows more than the product's cost as compared to a producer or seller. So in total, complete and symmetric information to the parties involved in a transaction. All the framework of demand and supply is actually based on this specific characteristic, that is perfect information. So now that we know and we have recalled what is perfect information or what is symmetric information, we can very well understand the concept of asymmetric information. So what is asymmetry? Asymmetry means unequal. So when the two parties of a transaction, that is the buyer or the seller, they do not have equal information, then there is a situation called asymmetric information. Let us look at its formal definition. In real life, we generally don't see symmetric information. One party to a transaction often has more information than another about the characteristics of the good or service which has to be traded. The seller of a product usually knows more about the quality of the good than the buyer. This is generally what we see in real life. So as we move away from the assumption of perfect information or symmetric information, we land up in an area which is of asymmetric information. Now, after knowing the concept of asymmetric information, we should also be looking at some examples. The examples of asymmetric information can be seen in many areas, or let us say many markets. The first one, labor market. Workers usually know more about their abilities than the potential employers. That would mean that if I as a worker would like to work in a firm, my abilities and my skill are more known to me as compared to the employer. The second example, it is from the market for second-hand cars. Suppose there is a market of second-hand cars, we expect that the sellers of second-hand cars are more informed about the quality of the cars as compared to the buyers of the second-hand cars. The third example is financial market, or we can also name it as credit market. In such a market, the creditor would have relatively lesser information about the risk he is putting his funds into by giving the credit to the debtor who has high debtor risk. The last example of asymmetric information we are taking up today is health insurance market. Actually, the insurance market as a whole also is dealing with asymmetric information, not only the health insurance market. The insurance company has lesser information about the health status of the individual as compared to the individual himself. Now, the individual who is healthy or unhealthy is not really known to the insurance firm. So, insurance market overall is dealing with this problem of asymmetric information every day. If suppose I am unhealthy, my medical records are not well, then the insurance company, before giving me the insurance package, does not have any way to find that out. Now, these examples actually give us an idea how our economy has so many sectors which are dealing with asymmetric information. But the asymmetric information doesn't really stop here. It affects our markets, it affects the dealing in the markets, and it affects the outcome as well. Now, let us look at how it affects our markets. As you all are aware that the perfect competition actually leads to the prices which indicate Pareto efficient allocation of resources. The Pareto efficient allocation of resources is that allocation from which we cannot move ahead without making anybody worse off. Which means under perfect competition, we achieve a state or a situation where the resources are fully utilized, optimally utilized, and efficiently allocated. So what happens due to asymmetric information? Due to asymmetric information, we cannot reach to Pareto efficient allocation, which means the prices in the market are distorted. Why are they distorted? They are distorted because of asymmetric information. And asymmetric information does not let the producers and the sellers to come on to equilibrium prices because of lack of equal information to both the parties. Now we will look at certain examples, specifically the case study of lemons. What are lemons? Let us start with the person who gave this classic example. The markets for lemon has its origin in the work of George Akerlof, who in 1970 wrote a paper titled The Market for Lemons, Quality, Uncertainty and Market Mechanism. In this paper, the words lemons is used as bad quality second-hand cars. Remember, I told you about an example of second-hand cars where asymmetric information is easily visible. Now, this example actually has come from this study by George Akerlof. What does he say? He says sellers of the second-hand cars have more information about the real value of the car than the buyer. It would mean, let us suppose I have a car, I wish to sell it. I will go to the second-hand cars market, maybe a dealer who deals in second-hand cars, and I will give my price, quoted price to the dealer. The dealer will look at the car and would put it on sale. Now suppose there is no dealer in between. I simply try to fetch a person who wants a second-hand car. What would I do? I would try to hide the negative characteristics or the weak parts of my car. For example, if my car had met with an accident 1 year back, I might try to hide it and to show the customer, the potential customer, that it has not met an accident ever. I might have got the seat covers changed. The original seat covers are not in my car right now, but I would like to hide it from the potential buyer. So what am I doing? I'm trying to hide information. More information is in my possession as compared to the buyer. So let us go back and look at the exact example provided by Ekerloff. Ekerloff says that there is an incentive to the seller to hide information. To hide information in order to get higher price for the second-hand cars. But what will be the consequence? What is going to happen if the sellers have more information and they keep hiding the information from the potential buyers? Let us look at the consequences. The consequences are also the consequences of asymmetric information in general, but these are specifically for the example of lemons. Market for lemons. That is, market for bad quality second-hand cars. So, what will happen is that the average quality of goods in the market, here the goods are second-hand cars, will then reduce as well the market size. Buyer possessing the extra information does not really buy the car because the seller is hiding the information. The presence of asymmetric information may result in no trade taking place at all. What does that mean? It would mean that slowly the good quality used cars, which are actually called plums, they are going to drive the lemons, which are the bad quality used cars, out of the market. I would say the plums will be driven out, not the lemons. Lemons will remain there. Why? Because the sellers know about the quality of the bad cars, which are lemons. So if lemons are there, the plums won't be sold. I'll repeat again, the plums which are the good quality used cars. So the good quality used cars, they require higher price, they will be asked higher price by their sellers, while the sellers of the bad quality used cars, they will be asking for a little lesser price as compared to plums. But this is just known to the sellers. What about the buyers? The buyers did not know there are good quality or bad quality used cars. For them, they are simply used cars. They are simply second-hand cars. So they will have an average price in their mind. They will not have two prices for a low quality or a higher quality used car. For them, all the cars are used cars. So what happens is that the price which the buyer is willing to give is not enough for a plum. Remember, plum is the good quality used car. And when it is not sufficient for the plum seller to sell it, why will the seller sell it? So the seller won't sell the plum, which means the sellers of good quality used cars are feeling discouraged for selling their cars in the second-hand market. So what is left in the second-hand cars market? In the second-hand cars market, we are only left with lemons. And what are lemons? Lemons are bad quality used cars. So this in all is the effect of asymmetric information on a specific market of used cars. I hope this concept is clear that how asymmetric information affects the outcome in a market. We also call it market failure. Now, that is a basic consequence of asymmetric information, and we would like to know what are other examples of such effect of asymmetric information. Let us look at our same examples which we covered earlier while talking about how asymmetric information is manifested, how it looks like in a market. So we are going to look at some examples now. The examples are into the labor market, the credit market, the used car market, which we have already covered, and there will be one more example which I'm going to give you after a while. So adverse selection is what has actually happened. With the examples in a while, adverse selection refers to a situation when parties gaining from the presence of asymmetric information are more likely to enter into a trade than the parties suffering from information asymmetries. In the case of used car, the parties which are suffering from asymmetric information are the buyers because they do not know what quality of used car that is. But the sellers of such cars are the parties which are interested in having the trade. Now, let us get back to those examples. In the labor market, if the potential employers have trouble assessing the abilities of workers, they may end up employing poorly qualified workers. So that is the example of adverse selection. That also would mean that this is the consequence of the asymmetric information. Second is the credit market. The credit market example, I would like, in fact, you to try, and I'll get back to it towards the end. The second-hand cars market, we have already understood that the sellers may be inclined to sell only lemons, which are bad quality cars. Health insurance market. Now, this is an interesting sector. If insurance companies may end up serving high health risk policyholders and may not be able to harness the cross subsidies from the low health risk policyholders, and thus they may not be able to break even due to high insurance claims from the high risk clients. What does that mean? That means that for an insurance company, it is really a dilemma whom to provide the insurance package, because they do not know whose health is better and whose health is worse. In that scenario, they would like to give less and less claims, but who are the people who take the insurance? The people who have low health status, or the people who have bad health. They tend to take insurance as compared to the people who are healthier. And for the insurance company, it works in a bad manner that only the bad health people take the insurance, because the insurance companies are going to give a lot of claims in that case. And the insurance company would not like to give a lot of claims. If they keep giving out claims, what will they earn? So they won't be able to may have a break-even situation where the total revenue is equal to total cost for them. Now we move on to the part where we understand in these examples who are the informed parties and who are the uninformed parties. By now it should be easy for you to actually guess. Second-hand cars, if we look at that market, which party was the informed party? The sellers. And the buyers were the uninformed party. Now, the case of health insurance market. The health insurance market, the insurance buyers, people like us who buy the insurance, are the informed party, and insurance companies are the uninformed party because they are having less information about our health. Labor market. In this example, the workers, the laborers, the professionals, they are more informed because they are more aware about their ability and skills as compared to the potential employers. So these were the discussion about the informed, uninformed, the concept of asymmetric information, how it manifests itself in the market. Now we look at the solution. There has to be some solution to this problem. What is the solution? To create more equitable information across parties. And how do we do that? There are actually two ways to do that. One is signaling and the other is screening. These are two simple ways through which some bit of asymmetric information can be tackled. Let us look at both of them. The first one, we look at signaling. The buyer or the seller signals the other uninformed party to increase their information about the product in trade. Means, I suppose have more information. I would like to signal that information to the other transacting party so that that party is more informed. Let us look at this example below. The example is of labor market. So suppose how I can provide my signal in the labor market. I go to a firm, I want to be recruited. What will I do? It's easy for all of you to relate that I will use my CV, I will give my resume to that firm, and if I am called for the interview, how do I dress up? What language am I speaking? What are my qualifications? Am I qualified for that specific job or not? What are my education levels? These are signals which I can put in my resume, and on top of it, in addition, in the interview also I can signal. Now we come on to the other solution of asymmetric information, which is screening. When uninformed parties initiate communication by conducting a test either for the informed parties or the goods those parties seek to trade. Here, the initiation is from the uninformed parties. The uninformed parties would like to know more. So, from their end, they put more efforts. How? They screen. How can they screen? We can have two easy examples. The first example is from the, let us say, from health insurance market. How can they screen? They can look at the potential customers' medical records. They can get a physical examination done of the person who would like to take insurance from them. That would give them much better information as compared to a situation where the person who wants the insurance is simply not giving out any information or not providing any papers of his or her health. The second example is second-hand cars market. Like I told you, suppose there is a dealer and then I mentioned that let's say there is no dealer. So what happens in case of dealer? In case of dealer, some kind of screening is taking place. The dealer is going to check your car. The dealer is going to have a test drive of your car. It's going to check the spare parts of your car, which means the dealer is making sure here that the dealer has proper information about your used car. And accordingly, he is going to quote the price to the buyers. But suppose you don't have a dealer in between. In that case, what is the situation with the buyer? How the buyer can get more information? So buyer is going to screen it. So what buyer could do? Buyer can have a test drive. Buyer can ask a mechanic to come in and actually see the condition and assess the car. So these are two examples of screening. Now we are coming towards the end of our session today, and what is the last part which I would want you to look at is the difference between signaling and screening. Signaling and screening have a very basic difference. One is initiated by the uninformed party. The other is initiated by the informed party. Signaling is more about an informed party that initiate the communication, while the screening is from the angle of the informed ones. They initiate and look at the less informed ones. So this was basic difference. The last bit now would be the task for you all. And as you remember, I kept saying I will let you know about credit market, but I didn't, because the reason is this. I would like you to go through the market for credit as a case study. You look at how the asymmetric information is manifested or shown by the characteristics of credit market. And I would also further like you to try and see how signaling or screening can help the credit market to work better and to give out efficient allocation of resources. So I hope you all have learned a good amount of concept, the examples, the effects of asymmetric information. And I also hope that you all will be able to identify in real life where asymmetric information exists. Few more examples and I will conclude. One would be doctor and patient. Other could be lawyer and the client. So can you think more? Yes. If you observe around, you will find the asymmetric information is a real life concept. We may not be able to deal with it completely, but we can increase the information, the quantum of information with the parties involved in transaction. So learners, I hope this was useful for all of you. As I said, this is part of BECC 108, that is Intermediate Microeconomics 2. And you can also use this concept to learn the contents of public economics and environmental economics, both of them, if you study in future those courses. Thank you.